Tales from Elsewhere Clockworld is a TTRPG that makes me ask a lot of questions. What do you get if you add tentacles to Tumbleweed? How do you damage player characters without a single hit point in sight? And why is this thing made entirely out of left hands? My name's Rich, this is Renegade Rolls, and I've got another question that's burning hotter than the noonday sun out in the Ruination. What is it about Tales from Elsewhere that's got me so very excited? Well, it's just cool as hell. From the artwork to the stories of the monsters you'll face to the mechanics of how you'll interact with the world moment to moment in game, I am super impressed. Heads up though, this isn't a paid review, and I've backed the Kickstarter with my own money because I genuinely think this game is awesome. Also, this isn't a read-through review. I've had the pleasure of running an actual play in Clockworld with some fabulous friends, so you can see for yourself how it plays and the vibes it creates at the table. There's a link in the description to all 4 hours of joy, nonsense, genuine fear, moments of horror, and at one point, I even sing. You've been warned, okay? Tales from Elsewhere Clockworld is a post-apocalyptic Weird West action horror role-playing game where, in fact, wait a sec, I love all of those words. Every single one of them makes me very, very happy. Anyway, it's a game where you play as hardy survivors, the everyday folk attempting to survive the horrors of Elsewhere after the calamity tore apart the barrier between realities. It's the brainchild of Peter Lang, who you might recognise from his Tales from Elsewhere YouTube channel, where he talks about game mechanics as well as the design decisions which went into the making of Clockworld. If you don't already follow his channel, go say hi and tell him I sent you. To get you right up to speed, here is my 30-second rule summary. Clockworld is an action horror TTRPG set in the Weird West. It's a D10 system, roll high, meets it, beats it. Target numbers and bonuses are combined into a table of ranks. In combat, damage is a dice pool depending on the weapon. You try and roll low here. 1s on those damage dice are crits, 2s and 3s are serious injuries, and 4s are just strain. It uses a 2 action point system which covers movement as well as attacking. And you can go all in on your actions, letting you roll high. This is the same as Advantage in D&D. The design is symmetrical, so threats get all of the same options as the player characters do. And injuries are nasty. More on that later. In the meantime, here is what my players had to say.
Oh, it was so much fun. I love it. It's like it's gross and cool, and I don't know. You got lots of imagination stuff you could do with that. Like, you know, just blood oilers. That word in general. What the f does that mean? It's good together. It's nasty.
I love the happy smile on your face.
It's nasty.
Great game. I'm always like a Western sort of cowboy fan, but this was amazing. You were very detailed. I love all the art, just the amount of detail and backstory that went into everything.
I haven't played a lot of tabletop games, specifically because I'm put off by a lot of the rolling and number crunching you have to do on the fly. This feels very natural to me. It's something that has really made me more interested in tabletop gaming as a pastime and a hobby.
I've mostly played games with sort of D20 based systems, so it's nice to see something that's a little bit different. I like seeing, like, you know, how you can push your rolls, you can go all in and things like that. You know, the damage system as well, rather than just rolling for the highest number, trying to get like the lowest possible out of a sort of array of dice. It's just a nice little extra bit of flavour. Thanks for making such a cool game, man. Despite the fact that I missed just about every single shot, I still had an absolute blast being Mudo. So thank you very much for that. I tip my hat to you.
For me, behind the GM screen, the mechanics were pretty straightforward, actually. There was not many dice rolls I had to make. Huge kudos for making the target numbers completely obvious, so the different levels of difficulty. Those made things very straightforward, and I was able to communicate with players as well. Here's what you need. There's no ambiguity, so you could have chosen to walk away as players if you thought, nah, that's too hard, I'll do something else. As a system, the only thing I want is to now learn it inside out, get really familiar with it, and just run it all the time. Now that I've cooled down from that post-game glow, what made Clockworld so much fun for me? Obviously my lovely players make any game a delight, but the system itself just sits very well with me. Peter describes it as rules medium, which might be my happy place in terms of depth and crunch. One-page RPGs are great, but leave a lot of work to be done at the table by the GM and the players alike in determining the specifics outside of the core mechanics. Likewise, games which are rules heavy can feel like a lot of work to pick up and get into, and I often feel like I'm only getting a fraction of the experience during any given evening's play. Games that are rules medium strike that balance for me, and I'd set Clockworld alongside systems like Index Card RPG and Cairn, which give me just enough to chew on without feeling overwhelming to pick up. There are an awful lot of positives to be found in Clockworld, and a negative too, but we'll start with the upsides. Firstly, the art. Wow, I'm just going to put this up full screen for this whole section. There are links to the artists in the description. Now, not every system will be for everyone, but Clockworld ticks so many of the boxes for me in what I'm looking for in its setting as well as mechanically. For the setting, the idea that Elsewhere is a reflection of the fears of people in that place and time is super, super cool. The Kentucky Sawbones, that left-hand monster, is a manifestation of their fear of amputation, while Blood Oilers evoke the dehumanizing, unstoppable nature of the Industrial Revolution. I love that I get to use a setting which I've had a mental image about since I saw my first cowboy film, but it's twisted here into something completely unique and sparks so many creative muscles. It's what I look for in any setting, regardless of whether it comes with a rule system or not. The killer question is, does this game setting give me the inspiration to create cool adventures, and do the rules support it? On the rules, every single one seems to be laser focused on being relevant to the setting and letting the players inhabit the survivors of the ruination. There's no swimming mechanic, but there is a wonderfully brutal system for wounds instead of hit points. Also, you've heard of the rule of cool? Well, Clockworld uses something even better, the rule of cruel. Which interpretation results in the most carnage, the most bloodshed, the most destruction for all involved? One negative, which I hope will be fixed in time for the full release, is that there isn't a one-page GM's guide like this one that the players get. It's something I always look for if I want to elevate a game to the "ooh, shall we give this a go tonight" category. The player onboarding in Clockworld is excellent, but in any system, if the GM onboarding isn't there, they'll never even show it to their players. I asked Peter about this, and it looks like a GM cheat sheet will be coming very soon. I find that I agree with Peter on an awful lot of stuff, in particular on the balance between mechanics and narrative.
The system lets you zoom in on moments and experiences that don't feel intense in other games that I've played because of the detail of some of the action resolution and the injuries. Like, that's something I've found my rule system really helps with, is that zoomed in, no fight is a checklist fight. There's stakes here that matter.
We got very nerdy in this conversation, and if you want to see the full chat, it's available on my Patreon, along with loads of other cool interviews, bonus goodies, long versions of actual plays, and so much good stuff. At risk of repeating myself, Clockworld is fantastic in so many ways, and it's been a delight to see the development of the game, and then to actually run it for my friends and see how they interact with the Weird West. The Kickstarter for Clockworld is happening right now. Go get it if you can. And if all that hasn't piqued your interest, well, how about some actual play? See how my players get on against the horrors of the ruination. Will the characters live to tell the tale? Were they all alive in the first place? What's the very best name for a horse? And why are there so many left hands just lying around? I'll see you there or over on the Clockworld Kickstarter page.
One last yeehaw.
One last yeehaw.
Yeah!